Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to look at how to perform PyTest and probably work with some of the modules embedded in the PyTest framework. So we begin by importing our PyTest framework. Then, as we did in the unit test, we define first the function to be tested, and we are testing add numbers so that we can compare notes. After defining it, we describe the method to be used. And the method here is that we want to return A plus B. So, unlike unit tests, where we had to lay out all the tests one by one, the addition, the subtraction, the negative integers, the positive integers, with PyTest has a module called parameterize. By using the parameterize module, we are able to truncate the whole test and run them all by just writing one function. And we are able to also have independent results. So in order to do that, we call the parameterize decorator, and to create or to call the parameterize decorator, we will ask Python. So first of all, we are going to use the parameterize. Parameterize the creator. We are going to use it, and we are going to define so we're going to use our parameterize the creator, and to use the parameterize the creator, we ask Python. So we say at pytest. We ask pytest to call the module parameterize for us. So by so doing, we use it like this: pytest.mark.parameterize. So when we call at pytest.mark.parameterize, then pytest at this point in time has called upon the module parameterize to come and help us with our test script. So after using the decorator, the next thing you have to do is to write the test inputs and the expected results. And you give it the parameter or the scope that it's supposed to use. I will do that by writing our test inputs. So we ask Python to help us put in some information, or we will put in some information and we put the expected results like that. So after that, we will give the parameterize a set of lists to work with. In this case, we are going to write a list of tuples that we want to try. Like we said, unlike the unit test, where we have to test each, we have to write out a test function for each data, for each parameter. Here, we can combine it with the help of the parameterize module. We can combine all our test case into one. So for example, you're going to test 3 positive integers, 3,9. We are going to test the tuple of negative integers. Let's say -3,5. Sorry, -5. Okay. We are going to test, also we want to test zeros. So you have 0, 0. We want to also test we want to test 0 and a positive integer. So we have 0, 5. What else can we test? Let's see. What did we test in the other one? Yeah, I think we have positive, negative. Oh, we can test positive and negative. So we have we test positive and negative. We can call on, let's say, 9 and -8. If I remember very well, that's what we did. All right, so break this one. Just leave it like this for now. So we have a list of sets of tuple that we want to test. All right. Okay. Now, after doing this, after putting in the test inputs, we are going to ask, we're going to now define our, what are we going to define? I'm going to define the, so our next step is to define the test function. Define tests underscore add underscore numbers. So we're going to test our numbers, and we are telling Python that it should take the test inputs, which is these values that we've put in here, and compare it with the expected results, and let us know if our function works or not. It's that simple. So yes, we assert add numbers. We test the input. Our test input is the details that we've been putting here. And here, so for example, I'll just say 9 here. I'll just say 3 here. All right. So I'm asking Python to confirm for me if by putting 3 and 9 in my test function, will it give me 12? All right. So we do this and we run the test. Cool. Let's see. So you see the differences. So one difference that we can strike from performing unit tests and pytest, you realize that here pytest permits us to see the different test cases that have been performed. So it lists all the tests out, and it's lists them here also for us to know that we've performed 5 tests by just writing one code. Like by just writing one test code like this, you've already performed 5 tests. You see, unlike the unit test that we did in our previous video, for example. See, we have to write all these tests in order to test them. But by just calling upon pytest, we're able to repeat the same exercise. Here is positive integers, negative integers, zeros, 0 and positive and negative. and testing it, now we have this result. Isn't it wonderful? So cool. So yes, when we come here, it tells us what we've tested, and it gives us the name of the file and the function that we've tested and the test cases that we've performed. So these are our test cases and the results. So let's intentionally fail one of the tests and see what is going to happen. If we fail one of the tests, let's say, okay, we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that. For now, let's just leave this one like this. And let's continue. So let's consider another test function. So we are going to test a function called subtract numbers. To do that, we first define our test function as define subtract underscore numbers. We defined it and we ask Python to pass. That means use the method that is known to subtract numbers. So it will pass it for us. Then we define our test case. Yeah. So we defined it as test underscore this. Then we are going to ask Python to accept this for us. But I want to change here, make it -3, and probably here make it -5. And see. And normally -3, -5 should give us +2. All right. So I asked Python to perform this function. Now, one importance of the parameterize module is that it's anytime, instead of always listing the numbers or referring to the numbers, it will capture the list of tuples that we have here. And anytime we write a new function, it is going to refer to that tuples and perform a test on each of them. So unlike unit tests where we would have used, for example, we would have quoted 3 and 9 and we perform a test on it. We quote -3 and -5, we perform a test on it. We do that for each one, and each time we have to write a unit test. Here we are not going to do that. We just write one line like this. With the help of this decorator, it is going to perform 5 different test cases based on these parameters given. So we are going to test it and see. We run it. Now we will pull it up. Oh, I have a test that has failed. Okay. Let's see. All right. Okay, so our test failed. Let's go and see why it failed. First of all, it is telling us that our test itself is failing because -3 -5, it is saying that it's not equals to 2, +2. Okay, let's say, instead of saying pass here, let me say, let's try something here. Return A minus B. Okay. Now, let's try it again and see. Okay. So you see, I asked it to pass, but then when I put my details, it failed. It failed. I don't know why it failed though, but but yeah, I just went back to give it a method what it should use, and now that it understands what it's supposed to do, it has passed the test for us, because in actual fact -3 minus -5 is +2. So when we come here, we realize that our test has passed, and yeah. So now, because I only ran this one, you realize that it has given me one test case, like test pass one. It is considering just one. Okay, nothing changed. Interesting. Before we move on, if you've noticed, we realize that the Python has underlined a lot of things for us, even though the test is running and the test is passing 100%, but Python is still not happy because we are not respecting the PEP8 rules. We can manually, in order to respect it, we can manually correct all these ones. But then if you happen to have a lot of code to go through, manually correcting it according to PEP8 rules is going to be very tedious. So one way that we can correct these ones automatically without going through them manually is by using flake 8 or black. Black is how will I call it? It is something. What thing is it? It is something that helps us to, it's a module or a framework or whatever it is. It can help us to correct these mistakes. So let me open a new terminal and do pip install black. So they are telling me that the requirement is already satisfied. Yes, because I've previously installed and used it in a Word before. So normally, if you do pip install black, it will install it for you. Normally, the next thing you would do is to write in your terminal, code in your terminal, Python black, then the name of the file that you want to correct. In this case, the name of the file is test underscore parameterize dot py. Now, normally this is the instruction we need to give to the terminal for it to correct our code for us. However, it is not working. As you can see, it didn't work for me. Why? It's because I don't have black in my trajectory, in my file path. So another way I can write the instruction for it to refer to the black that is already satisfied is by writing okay, instead of Python black, I rather do Python space m like this and run it again. Okay. Right. So it is telling us that all done, one file formatted. Let's see. Which file did it format? Okay. All right. So you see the differences? Now, after doing that, and I click back in the code, it has rearranged our code for us. So I didn't have to do them manually. It has respected the PEP 8 rules. So it's just an opportunity to introduce to us to that, like we've already learned how to use PEP Flake 8. We can also use black to automatically correct our file for easy readability. Thank you for watching.